How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of my weekly vlog from a dad's perspective. This week has been pretty good. There's been some stressful moments, but other than that, it's been all right. Work's been good. I actually got to work from home Wednesday and Thursday since my wife went back to work this week, and she's been going to training and stuff for all the new changes that are going into HISD, which are insane. Um, I don't know if you guys have looked up anything. I mean, some people may not even have to worry about it because they're not in HISD, but I know that some states implement this stuff, and it's scary seeing the libraries empty, around town. The images that are being posted from different teachers of like them turning them into like these areas for students to like that are, I guess, disruptive or not meeting the expectations of what's going on. So they're going to be shoved into these rooms so they can be, it's like a quiet room. So they're removed from the classroom. Um, it, but taking away a child's need to read or to fuel their imagination or for research. I mean, I understand that things are going into in a digital age, but it's a very different experience when you're sitting in the classroom or at a school holding a book or going through the library and finding the book you want to read. And it's just bizarre to me. Um, so there's a lot of things going on. So that's been weird. Like just all the things that my wife's been telling me that's going on and the changes and thinking about what it's going to do to affect my child and like every other child that's going to have to go to school. And um, a lot of these changes have been done beyond like the scope of what the parents want. They're not given a choice of these changes. They weren't given a chance to vote on what's happening to the school board and the schools. So it's man, it's scary. Um, instead of focusing on teaching children to be, you know, functioning members of society, we've literally went through the process of like removing the art classes, removing music from schools. Now we're, going to be removing the libraries and other things. And it's like, well, when are kids going to have the ability to have an imagination to explore new worlds through literature? Um, find that creative niche that may be the thing that helps them in life when things are stressful. They can pick up a guitar and play something, or they can learn to draw. Um, we focus on trying to test instead of encouraging children to excel, to want to learn, to make it creative and fun for them. Um, Especially at a younger age, it's understandable in high school, but even then it's still kind of hit and miss. Because I remember going to high school and, taking fencing and I took art classes and there was so many things that you're introduced that help define you even more before you start going to college to figure out what you want to do for your life. And I just don't know. I don't know where things are going to go. Um, but it's scary being a parent, like worrying about these things and you know feeling like your say on how your child should be taught or what being taken away. I mean, there's stupid things that people are complaining about for schools, and um, a lot of people don't even know what's going on. They don't pay attention. They don't listen to what's being addressed. It's like they hear a soundbite or they hear like somebody talking about nonsense and they're like, oh my God, this is gonna affect my child. And it's I don't know. I don't know. Um, I just wonder, as being someone, I graduated in 2001, so I'm like, 22 years removed from school. Um, and I just don't know. I'm glad that my son is getting an education, but I don't know how much of an education he's getting. Um, and the opportunities. I don't know if he's going to even have the same experiences that most of us had. It's all going to be different. So, and I got one more week with him before he starts school. And today after I get done recording this, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna play some Minecraft and stuff just before dinner, and then I'll put him to bed, and then we'll start to see how things go for the week. I know I want to go take him to the park. His birthday officially is the 27th, so that'll be Sunday coming up. We're planning to probably go to somewhere. I have no clue. Maybe do something here. It's just too hot outside to try to do anything lately. Temperatures are ridiculous. I know his buddy came over and they were playing and doing stuff in the house, but like me and my wife had him help us take some clothes outside to our washer and dryer in the garage, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's so hot!" And they ran back inside to be in the AC, and it's crazy how hot it is here. But we ended up having a small birthday party for my son yesterday, and this was all for my wife's side of the family, and it was cool getting to have all of her cousins together and their kids, which are right in line with my son, and they were playing games, running around, beating at each other, playing tag, doing stuff inside the house, and then they would sit down and play Roblox, of course. But it was nice. It was a good change, and then we ended up having pizza, and my mother-in-law, she made chicken tortilla soup, which is amazing. I just wasn't in the mood for chicken tortilla soup yesterday. I wanted some pizza. you know Sometimes when you're just eating healthy and stuff, you want that fatty food. You want those things that, like, those guilty pleasures. The Like, if I could eat pizza all day or every day, I would. That's my favorite food. What's your favorite food? Let me know in the comments. But you know it's it was nice, because he doesn't get to have or see his cousins as often, especially on my dad's side. My nephew and my niece, we don't get to see them all the time. We try to make it up there, a couple times a year, especially during certain events. And it's going to be interesting this year, with the changes and stuff. And I hope I get to see them for Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I just don't know. I don't know how things are going to go. Um, it'll definitely be different. And if things factor and change differently, I know that I'll probably start doing something here with my cousins and stuff. My cousin Dallas is going to be having a baby, and it's awesome. We actually, that's another thing, we found out that my wife's cousin Sean, his wife, is going to have another baby. So man, the cousins are going to be like 10 or 11 at this point. Also, we found out just recently too that her brother, my brother-in-law, is going to be having a baby, and they may be kind of in like a couple of days or a week or two apart. So they're definitely going to be March babies. So it'd be kind of cool. Um, so I don't know. I look forward to having new additions to the family, new people to influence and help guide into the right direction, as well as being part of their lives. And same thing, I want I know that me and my wife would love to have another baby. We want a girl. That would be amazing, to get the set and be done with it. And it's like I don't mind going through the whole thing of changing their diapers and keeping up with all that stuff. I'm used to it by now. Whenever COVID hit, we ended up taking in my wife's cousin Thomas, his baby, for about like almost 2 years, up until he was just before he was 2 years old. We raised him and helped him and his girlfriend at the time, the mom of the baby. And it was hard seeing him go. He was like a part of the family. And we had him every day. I think there was a few times on the weekends we may not have had him, but that was what my wife's job was. She was, going to school and watching Zach, and getting to see him this weekend was a pure joy. Just hearing him talk and like knowing stuff, and just his what would it be? His the laughter. His laughter is hilarious. I love it. It's infectious. And even though him and Edward are cousins, they're almost like brothers because they got raised together. And it's good that we're going to get to start seeing him more. Um, but it's been hard. It's hard when you have someone that you take care of for a period of time, and you build this bond. And I want my son to have a sibling. I want him to be able to know what it was like for me and my sister to, have someone to look after, to care for, and to always be there for, no matter how hard it is and or what comes up. you know um Love is very important, and looking past the flaws and the nonsense and things that may be dumb in retrospective. Whenever my grandmother passed, there was some really bad stuff that came to light, and it was really hard on me losing my grandmother. And I didn't feel welcome at my her funeral because of my mom and my aunt. And my mom has done so many bad things to me and my sister. No matter how many times we still love her and help her, she would always find some way to push it back in our face, and that's hard. I can't understand that. Being a parent, um, I love Edward so much, and my wife does too, and I can never see us doing any of that to him. And to have what happened happen during the funeral, passing of my grandmother and everything, was unforgivable. And for me, it was easier for me to cut ties from my aunt and from my mom. And I don't want to get into it, but there was some pretty shady stuff. And when you defend somebody because of misinformation, and you prove the fact that it was misinformation, it should be dropped and let go. But, when money is involved, it makes it difficult. And I don't mean to make this episode a little negative or anything. Just been a lot of things on my mind lately, and just things that are going on that I need to express how I feel. And I feel that putting it in this vlog, it may not be something people want to hear, but just bear with me. I mean, this is really a way for me to let it go. Sometimes we harbor things inside that it sticks with us. It affects our moods. It can cause depression and make us not want to be able to do anything. Or you may come home and you're hit with the news, and then your motivation for anything is out the window. And sometimes you got to find a way to talk it out and move forward. And it's one of the things that me and my wife are trying to teach to our son, is that sometimes you get upset, but you need to let it go. You need to process it. If you need someone to talk to, come talk to somebody, come talk to me, come talk to mommy, and we'll help you through it. And then you'll just move on, because it's going to be one of those things in hindsight that he'll be like, he won't even remember, or he'll think about it, and he'll be like, well, why did this happen? Hopefully he doesn't have it linger with him. But yeah, this week's been stressful. The highlight, of course, was getting to be there for my son, spending time with the family. I miss my dad. I miss my sister. I miss my nephew and my niece. And I hope everything's going well, okay with them. There's nothing I can do with the situations of things, but you know, um, all we can hope is things will mend, and we'll move past it. But other than that, I mean, we didn't go do anything for the water park this time. Um, I'd love to be able to get in like one more trip to Slitterbond, but we're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be impossible to be able to fit it in, especially with my son's birthday. But I think looking back, I think we've had a good summer this year. We got to take a couple trips and got to see my dad and went to Missouri um, twice. You know, being able to go and to the museum, flight museum, and some other things. I think we may take him to one more place. Actually, we may go back to U.S. golfing games and stuff, and go play some games, play some putt putt, go karts and stuff. That'd be fun. Um, I would have loved to take him out to a park and go fly a kite or get a RC car or frisbee, something. Just go outside and have fun. But it has been way too hot this summer, and man, I just I don't know how it's going to continue to be. Hopefully next year it won't be too bad. We can actually go do something. And I think it's just hard too because some of the places we want to go aren't covered, so the sun's just bearing down on you, and it's hot, and you're sticky and sweaty, and when you come home, you're tired. But there's a lot more stuff that we're going to technically do coming up here soon. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What else? What else has been going on? What have I been doing? So I've been trying to do a lot more for the channel. I know that I was going to stream the thing this past Thursday, but I could not find my power cable to my PS3 because I have one of the ones that's backwards compatible. But I went ahead and purchased the one of the HDMI converter cables, so I'll be able to have that hooked up, and so I can stream it on this next Thursday. So that'll be fun. What else? I've just been trying to clean the house and just get things in order because especially if we're going to be doing something for his birthday, I want to make sure that it's clean, it's ready to go, so that way it's just not filled with boxes and totes of things that we're trying to process and trying to put into storage or the garage. It's just not. It's one of the things too is like I don't want to put it outside because it's so hot out there. I don't want any of my stuff to melt. Um, but especially considering those old toys, some of those vehicles and stuff, when it's in the heat and stuff, it bakes and that stuff becomes super brittle. Especially considering how old some of it is. So I try to keep it within the house, within our like built-in garage that was never finished turning into a room, and I plan to finish that soon. That way I can turn that into my studio and man caves. I want to display my stuff. That's one of the things that I hate is that I collect a lot of stuff and I just keep it in the box, or I kind of display it over here, or I have shelving throughout the house where I have it displayed. But I don't have like all my Transformers displayed. I don't have all my Star Wars figures. I want to be able to have all my stuff displayed and presentable in a way that it's I'd feel happy. It's hard when you work hard for something and you're not able to, one, use it, two, display it, and three, if you have to just put it in a tote and just it's lost in the sands of time until like you come back to it like it's a time capsule in your garage, and hopefully it doesn't get destroyed, or your dogs don't get to it and destroy some of your stuff, like which I had happen with my Final Fantasy Play Arts figures. I think it was the Advent Children and a couple. That was hard. I cried. I had those since like 2003, 2004. And to find that stuff when I went outside to go put clothes in because we had a rainstorm before was difficult. Hopefully, I'll be able to get those again. Um, in the meantime, not all of them were destroyed. I think it was about 7 figures. I think I lost Squall, I lost Zach, I lost who else? I lost my Lightning figure, I lost my Riku, uh who else? It's like 3 other figures. And that sucks. When you pay for something and it's like one of those items that you care about a lot because it means something to you, to have it destroyed, it's painful. It was painful. But yeah, we're definitely working to try to get the house set up in a better presentable way. Because we've kind of been lax. There's been a lot of things been going on. We've taken a lot of trips. We've been in and out of pocket because of like family emergencies and things. And being able to kind of get back on the wagon and get things going, it feels good. Uh, because sometimes you can get lax. Sometimes things can bring you down. Things can affect you emotionally that prevent you from wanting to take care of what you need to. And is one of the things that we want to kind of fix. But and that's another thing is like, I'm going to be slowly starting to kind of dial back as much as I've been collecting, because I want to be able to save for us to be able to buy a house, whether that be here or in Missouri, take a big move, go up there, maybe move up with my dad in Dallas, because as he gets older, his health is getting a little more difficult, and he may need someone there to help him. And I don't mind doing that. I love my dad. He sacrificed a lot for us, and if it means I have to sacrifice some things that I need to help him out and repay him, then I will. I just got to see how things are going. Knock on wood, my dad's okay right now. Things are looking good. But you never know. Technically, you never know for anything in your life, and it's like you gotta, seize the day, find a way to take every moment of what's going on in your life and extract excitement and productivity, something that move towards something. Don't just do things on a routinely basis because that's what you have to do. Do something more that moves you in a direction that puts you maybe in a spot that makes you closer to your dream, or achieving something that you're looking forward to. Save money to get a new car, or for us, buy a new house. Or maybe there's that holy grail item you really want, but it's like $600 or whatever. Like maybe the Thundercats lair. Just take the time, save up the money, and you'll have it. But then again, some things about these Kickstarter or the HasLab or crowdfunding stuff, you run into the risk of missing out. Yeah, the FOMO is real on that stuff. But then again, if you can save up for it before the time period and you're not breaking the bank, but if it's something that means a lot to you, go for it. Don't miss the opportunity. If you work hard for it and you achieve it and you don't do anything that you're going to regret later, there's opportunities and ways to be able to get stuff, and connections. And I don't know. I've been thinking about what I wanted to do for this episode, and there's been a lot of things that have been going on, and it's trying to narrow down the thought process of what I should cover, because I had some weird dreams and I wanted to talk about that. Now I don't even remember what the dreams are, so I should have wrote them down. Normally I do, so that way I can talk about them or expand them into a story if they're really good. Because I've had some really cool dreams. I had one a couple months ago where my Uncle Gene came to visit me in my dream. It was, I know it was my mind, but it was good getting to see him, and talking with him, even though it was just a dream. But it was maybe something that my mind knew I needed, because I lost my uncle a few years ago. Well, it's been, man, it's probably almost a decade now. Yeah, because it was like right after my son was born. So yeah, about 8 years ago, to brain cancer. He ended up getting brain cancer, um, one that normally affects children. So it was kind of bizarre that he got it. But there's no telling. My uncle was a merchant marine, and an engineer, electrical engineer, and then so he was all around the world, and there's no telling what he could have got into that could have caused it. But my uncle was my rock. I mean, I was like, I love my Uncle Gene, and it was great. We'd be able to talk and about anything. He loved like freaking aliens and talking about like ancient history. And I remember one time he called me and was telling me and my dad about the whole thing of that they were excavating the stuff in the Sphinx, and they found like a chamber in one of the foots that had like ancient texts and everything. And he was like, "This is awesome. It's going to change the world." And of course, we don't know if it did or not, but it was talked about. So, um, but it was cool. He could play Skyrim. He'd like play it over and over. That was his game. Or Elder Scrolls. Um, the what is it, Morrowind, or it's like one other of the Elder Scroll games. And he would he'd always usually play a barbarian, or he would change his class. And it was like the closest he could get to playing D&D like we used to back in the day, or he would with my dad and you know my Uncle Mike and Colin and his brothers. But it was I missed it too. I missed being able to do that. I missed being able to role play. I'm hoping to be able to start introducing my son to this soon. There's a couple board games I have that I'd love to be able to start playing with him with. I just got to get the table clean. I got to get him off of Roblox. Sometimes you got to redirect your child on the things that they're doing so they can be introduced to other things. Um, because I know there's things that he's going to enjoy. I just got to get him to do it. Because like when you try to get him to watch movies, sometimes he's for it and sometimes he's not. But then after he watches, he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's the best movie ever!" And it's like, well, why did you doubt me, son? I love you. Um, but going back to my uncle, it's I miss him. I miss him every day, and I realize that I need to start hanging out with my cousins more and having them over and doing stuff because I after after my Uncle Gene passed, I would talk to him every now so often. My cousin Ryan would come over, and then like last year, my cousin Dallas got married. And of course, like I said earlier, that he's going to be having a baby soon. It's it's really cool. I want to be a part of their life. And I'd love to like start the process of because my my Uncle Gene was the glue that kept the family together. We would have, Thanksgiving and Christmas together, and we would always do things. And then like once he passed, it was just like we just kind of spread out to the far winds. And miss him, miss hearing his voice, miss, you know, just spending time with him. And it's one of those things where like we as we get older, sometimes we move away from friends and family. Not because we want to, but opportunities come up, and uh maybe we may not have the time, or we have conflicting schedules. Um and we don't really work hard enough to keep that flame going. And I miss it. I miss it a lot. I feel alone, And not that I'm alone. I have friends, and I have my wife and my son and my Aunt Lisa, and my brother and my sister and my other two sisters, even though, one of them won't talk to me. That it goes back to the whole thing with my grandmother stuff. But, you know, it's hard. You got to fight for your family. You got to fight for your friends. You choose whether they're just an acquaintance or a friend. Um, and taking the time to be a part of someone's life. And I'm at that age now. I'll be 42 soon, and I want to spend hopefully the next 40 years being able to make new memories with everyone, and continue down the process of making these videos and everything else. But I look at that, and we got some bad news this week from my wife's uncle that his wife, what's on my wife's aunt, has tongue cancer, and luckily, I think they caught it early. We're not sure. We don't know all the details as far as yet. I think they're still doing all the tests, but um, we got to see her yesterday, and you can definitely tell it's affecting her. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish cancer or anything on anyone. I don't technically have a negative bone in my body, even though I think negatively uh, sometimes. But I hope for the best, and we'll be there for whatever the family needs. And it's just a lot to take in, because I think last weekend, my niece had a baby, and so this is my wife's best friend's goddaughter, or sorry, my wife's best friend's daughter, my wife's goddaughter, and I have, since I've known her, I've been her uncle, and awesome, beautiful baby. She named her after her mom. Um, and I can't wait for us to be able to be a part of her life. I haven't had a chance to go see her, but my wife did, and she got to hold her. And I've seen pictures, and she's amazing. I just can't wait to be a part of her life with my wife and everything. And it's funny, it's one of those things where we have life and death at the same time. They hit us at different moments. Sometimes we're prepared for it, sometimes we're not, and it can take its toll. And we just have to learn to live with it and not forget it. We need to there's find a way to grieve, because we can't let the loss of someone like prevent us from functioning or living our life. And I know that there was a period of time where my dad was losing family members after family members. I was like, we lost my papa, which is my dad's dad, and we lost my uncle Roger, and we lost my aunt Sissy, and we lost some other people within the family, and it was just back to back. And then, what, of course, whenever I got married and stuff, there was a period of time where my wife kept on having family members die. And I remember talking to my boss, and I said, I'm really not trying to make this up. And he goes, no, just, you never know when this stuff's going to happen. So it's one of those things where you've got to take every moment that you have and spend that time with them to make those memories, because it, in a way, will help ease the blow. Because as long as you're able to be there for them, you can, you don't live in regret. There's no like thought process of like, I should have been there, I should have done this, because you were there. It's like, I don't regret my grandparents or my grandparents passing, because I got to be there for them. I got to be there unfortunately, when my grandfather passed, and it was hard. And seeing his life just go out, and the warmth leave his body, and be there to help my family through it. And that's one of the things I think that upset me, was that we didn't do a funeral for him. We were going to hold off until whenever my grandmother passed, and it would have been a joint funeral. And when my grandmother passed, even though they were buried together, the ashes of my grandfather with my grandmother, um, it was all about her. It wasn't about them. It wasn't about their union. It wasn't about what, um, the joys and the experiences that everybody got from, having them in their lives, or being able to be a part of their lives. And the sad thing is, it wasn't even really about my grandmother. And I think that's another thing that hurt me, and I felt betrayed, because it turned out to be, it was a show for my aunt and my mom, and it was about them. It wasn't about my grandparents. Um, and it's something haven't been able to get over yet. Uh, I think we're 3 years removed from my grandmother passing, as of June 6th. and it's it's hard. Um, so I guess what I'm saying is, take the time to reach out to your family. Take the time to reach out to a friend, someone you haven't talked to in a while, and just see how they're doing. Yeah, it's okay that if someone did you wrong and it's hard and you don't want to talk to them. That's fine. I do that myself. But I know that I'm prepared for like when my mom passes. I won't have that emotional attachment as well as if it was my father. And that's just because of the relationship I've had with my mom. And you know, I didn't ever want to leave my dad. My dad sacrificed everything for us, and I've talked about this before. Um, him getting down on his knees and playing GI Joes with us, or Barbies with my sister, or whatever, Transformers, and him doing voices and him being the villain and like acting like a villain. You know how villains cheat, and playing games with us and movies, spending time to talk with us, and you know I didn't get that from my mom. And I uh, I hope that one, I can be a good father to my son, and also my dad can be proud of me. Uh, Man, I'm going down a deep part here. Uh, I probably look like I'm starting to cry, but you know, uh, that's why I'm so sentimental about everything. I have a deep nostalgia for everything that I own and collect, and the people I keep, and as friends and family. And when I look at this stuff, it's like I can remember, where I was, what it was like. There's a lot of movies and video games and anime and cartoons that I've watched all my life. I never stopped watching it. So like I know that it's funny too. Um, I was the person that hated like this term retro or old school because it's like I never left it. It's always been a part of me. It's part of my life. And yeah, it was cool, helping people rediscover this stuff, or the showcase of why this stuff is awesome, and what made me the person I am. And it's one of the things I hope I get to teach to my son too. But uh, it's I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't change anything. Um, but yeah, I guess other than that, everything's been okay. I'm just having to deal with decisions and things that are going on, and it's making me think a lot. And I guess that's something we do as we get older, as we face new ventures and new experiences. We're pulled and still tangled into our past, but those things should help us, like define us, help us have the tools to be able, and experience to be able to move forward with these new adventures. And um sometimes you just have to deal with the dice that you're given. Sometimes you don't get a chance to re-roll, um but as long as you're still playing, you should continue to keep going forward. And but yeah, I guess I'll pose a question for you guys. Do you have a family member that impacted you the most growing up? Someone that you looked up to, that would do certain things for, help you out, that person that you can be there to talk to. Let me know. I'd love to hear it. Or if you guys have stories or things going on, don't be afraid to say something. And I thank you guys for checking out this episode. um I hope you all have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday. In the meantime, everyone be safe. Peace out.